Hey everyone, welcome to this special lunar eclipse report for March 22nd and 23rd of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so big time this week. This is going to be the lunar eclipse going exact on Wednesday morning at 7:47 a.m. Eastern time. So it's been a very transformative month. First of all, we've had the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago. And so leading towards this lunar eclipse, it's been a time of change, specifically of getting rid of old energies that are no longer serving us, or rather allowing them to go. And this is specifically involving where we can have more freedom, which was the Aquarius side of it, and then where we can also have more peace and presence, which is the Pisces side of it. So now we come to the high points where there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of awareness. We're also at the halfway checkpoint, the status checkpoint of a lot of the things that we started 6 months ago. Now, the things 6 months ago were some new beginnings relating to this lunar eclipse in Virgo. So Virgo is all about perfection. At the end of the day, it's about how to take the spiritual self and perfect it here on earth. Of course, nothing is perfect except for the divine, but we strive for it. And so that's what Virgo really brings about, is that analytical ability, that self-improvement ability to see what in our life can be improved and what we can do to make it better, essentially. Okay, so that's what's really being highlighted. And over the past 6 months, in this sense, it has been a time of implementing this earthly type of perfection in our lives. So with this lunar eclipse, it's going to be forming a couple aspects. It's going to be opposing up to Mercury and sextiling up to Mars. Two major aspects with this. And it just so happens that with this lunar eclipse, Saturn is going to square up to Jupiter exact. All right, and this is the second out of the three aspects that have been going on since the late part of last year. So it's significant in that that aspect's going exact, and it does form a couple aspects. So let's go ahead and break this down. The first thing is Virgo. Okay, so essentially what we've got here is we've got this cultivation of this where there can be improvement in our life. Looking at our situation, seeing what can be embettered. Okay, what is imperfect? What can be improved? But this has to be done in a very healthy sort of way. We want to watch any over or under extremes. This is a very high energy time. And so with all full moons and with all lunar eclipses, it's about balance without going to any extremes. So the over extremes of Virgo is sometimes the overly critical energy, right? And with Pisces, overly retreating. So part of us is probably pulled in either of these directions, right? Wanting to really get into the nitty gritty, really get into the perfection, overly critical. And then the other side is pulling into wanting to float away or have, a retreat in which we can go into and sort of isolate ourselves from this reality or from this grounded approach. So the key, of course, is balance. And the way I like to see it is grounding that spiritual self, which is the Pisces merging with the Virgo. All right. So it's very important to have that sort of keen sense of balance, especially because the ruler of Virgo, Mercury, is going to be opposing up to this lunar eclipse. So this is suggesting that our minds could be taken to an extreme, specifically. Sometimes excessive thinking, sometimes wanting to have everything figured out. And in Pisces, this isn't the easiest place for Mercury to be in. Mercury likes to have things known, have things tangible and practical. And in Pisces, it's showing us that there's this vastness, that there's things larger than ourselves at work. And so our ability to relax into the unknown, to have that faith and trust, and to allow our minds to be intuitively guided is what Mercury is showing us. And that's an excellent way of grounding this, right? Without, of course, going to just the extremes of Pisces. We do want to implement this now. Okay, it is a good time to move forward, specifically with these changes that have been in effect over the past 2 weeks. Now, the sextile to Mars means that there is drive, there is motivation. It's a great time to take action. At least there's an opportunity for that. Okay, and this is a type of action that is really about utilizing the truth. Okay, it's in Scorpio, Mars. So there's this very assertive, direct nature we each have, which is wanting to see the truth, wanting to get down to the bottom of things, and really assert that truth or assert ourselves in a deep way and transform our life. You know, Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So this is all about an opening, just like with Pluto, with this trine up to the North Node, of powerful change, an opening for change, and that we have the motivation, we have the drive, we have the ability, and it's supporting all of this. So in this sense, where we can strive for improvement in our life. And this is all areas of life, of course, starting with self. So that's the Mars energy, that's the Mercury. Those are all the aspects with that. And of course, Saturn, going exact with Jupiter, is very significant with all of this. It's synchronistic. It just so happens that these two events are happening on the same day. So in terms of Saturn, this has been the fact that our life path is unfolding for us to learn more about our new form of expression, our new self in many ways, with Jupiter retrograde and the North Node going into Leo. But Saturn is saying without discipline, without patience, without this pragmatic approach, we can't move forward, right? It's got to be stable. It's got to be real. It's got to be raw. It's got to be something that's meaningful to us. That's been Saturn and Ophiuchus. So in order to cultivate these new beginnings, because it certainly is a time of new beginnings, we do have to take that slow, steady, patient, grounded approach, which is Saturn. And if we do, this can be a very constructive time. Saturn is forming this T-square, making sure everything is integrated, everything is done right, and most importantly in Ophiuchus, everything is done by truth. So very powerful time, and I feel like the Virgo energies are going to be heightened, really emphasizing the importance of balance with the ruler Mercury in opposition. Okay, and especially with Mercury getting close to the sun, Mercury is going to go combust over the sun here on Wednesday during the, or just after the lunar eclipse. So this is where there can be a lot of passion, there can be a lot of fire, there can be a lot of energy with the mind. But in Pisces, again, it's a reminder to connect to the present moment as best as we can, to observe the mind, and through that we become aware of this fiery passion or this fiery insight that is coming through the mind, or through the communications, in fact. And through that extra awareness, we can help bring balance to it. Okay, and again, it can be very intuitive. It's a lot of spiritual insight coming in at the moment, specifically to ground it, to embody it, to see what we can do in this physical plane that is a type of spiritual progression in our life, that spiritual improvement, spiritual growth, which is what Virgo is all about. All right, so I hope you guys have an excellent lunar eclipse. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Take care.